guys, what's up? It's Naomi the Crafty Savage here, and I'm back with this week's Savage Storytime. I figured I'd do something a little different. Let me know what you guys, think about this, if I should do more of them. But before we get into this, make sure you got your tea, your soda, your milkshake, your coffee, your snacks, your popcorn, whatever it is, right? Just don't be choking on them. Okay. So, this week, I figured we'd do some little, crazy deathbed confessions, right? Right. I was reading an article and I saw it and I was like, that might be good for Savage Story Time. So, let's get into them. All right. So, this first one. My mom had a patient who was terminal and confessed to unaliving his twin brother in Vietnam. Geez, that's the way you're gonna do it. I guess that's kind of smart. I'm not saying don't be out there doing that. Don't be out there doing that, right? So he could blame the death on the war. Like I said, at least he's thinking. You know what I mean? It'd be like, there was a war going on. I didn't. Yada yada yada. Steal his identity, you're a low-down dirty dog, and then return to the U.S. to be with his brother's wife. First off, I got some questions, okay? Maybe like the platoon he was with, maybe not realized, but I've been friends with a couple twins in my life, and like in high school, there were these twin brothers. Now, from behind, you could not tell the difference. They looked the same, right? But if they turned around, now, yes, they were identical, but it was like you could kind of tell, after a while, you can be like, nope, that's that twin, like you can't try and trick me, right? I'm just saying, so it says the wife had passed away years earlier, and the patient's children blamed the confession on dementia until his passing. But as it turns out, the patient's daughter ended up finding a handwritten confession from decades ago stuffed into an old Bible. Whew. That's a good one. I'm just saying, right? The next deathbed confession. A great aunt of mine says that when her husband was on his deathbed, he confessed that he had actually shrunk 2 of her favorite expensive sweaters by drying them many years earlier. She thought that maybe someone broke in and stole her things because he threw them away to hide the evidence. For years, she had hoped that they might turn up. She said she never suspected one of her friends may have stolen... She said she even suspected one of her friends may have stolen them at a party. Nope. He was just afraid to admit that he'd ruined them for 20 years. She forgave him, obviously, and they had a laugh about it right near the end. Oh my gosh, I get it. You shrink something and you're like, can I stretch this out? Why didn't he try to go to the store, and be like, hey, so I thought I'd help my wife. I did the laundry. I threw these in. They were adult woman size. Now they're toddler size. Can you help me here? Or just, 20 years go by and you still haven't said anything. He let his wife think that one of her friends went in her closet and stole 2 of her sweaters. Wow, this one's not as bad as the first one. The first one was like, oh my gosh, she's got some problems. This one's kind of funny. So the next confession, I had a patient who was an 86-year-old woman who put a bunch of crosses around the room. I had asked her to take them down due to the inability to create the care she needed. She insisted they all stay up because it was 1 cross for each soul she took. if that's true, she took 14 souls. Tell you, these like older people back in the day, like ruthless, I tell you. All right, this next one, right? My dad told me that when his grandfather was about to die, he finally told his family why he had his tattoo on his arm. Okay. It was always a mystery because he was a pastor at a church and he never spoke of it. Okay. Well, you know, like the older generation, it was like they didn't get tattoos. I'm not saying they don't have tattoos, but it wasn't a thing like it is like with this generation type of thing. And then to be a pastor on top of it, like, yeah, I'd probably be like, you did some slim shady stuff back in the day, didn't you? So it says, apparently, when he was 19, he was a safecracker and robbed a bank and then got arrested. So he got the tattoo in prison. But when he got out, he decided to never tell anyone and turned his life around. I mean, I guess that, you know, like maybe it'd be like, all right, I'm going to get this tattoo as a reminder to like, I need to stop cracking safes and robbing banks and change my life around. And if I ever get desperate and think I need money, I'm just going to look at this tattoo and be like, I ain't going back to jail. Right? I mean, that's my logic around it. The next one. When my grandfather died, he finally told my mom that he and my grandmother had been divorced for years. No one in the family knew at all. Like, how? But they lived together, then why'd you get divorced? And like, what if the other person had a relation? That's none of my business, right? Maybe they just stayed together for the kids. Maybe it was more of like a convenience thing. But to not tell anybody. But also back then, you know, divorce was not, it was like frowned upon. So he had it in his will to still give her everything. And they still lived together. When my mom was going through his things, sure enough, she found the divorce papers dating back to 1978. Wow. I mean, I could see, okay, maybe living together. I want to know more about that. Like, first off, why did you get divorced? Second, if you got divorced, why'd you still live together? I mean, I can kind of understand because back then that was not, you know, it was like you got married and you stayed married. And I mean, that's the way it should be. But hey, there are times and circumstances you're like, psh, I done lost my marbles when I stood at that altar and said, I do. Somebody should have set me on fire. Like, been like, no, stop, right? That's probably why I'm 41, almost 42, and never been married, because I'm like, stop the bus. I don't know. But like that long, and then like even after the kids have moved out and grandkids and all that, like, and you didn't tell nobody? I want to know why they got divorced. Inquiring minds want to know. Okay, the next one. My grandmom confessed to cheating on her husband, and she encouraged my mother, her daughter-in-law, to do the same. Granny is off her rocker, right? So she confesses to cheating on her husband, and then is now telling her daughter-in-law, like, yo, girl, go out and cheat on my son. Like, my mind is blown. Like, oh my gosh. The next one. My dad grew up thinking his mom unalived herself when he was 10. When my grandfather passed away about a decade ago, he confessed to my dad on his deathbed that he had actually unalived my grandmother. see, like, they could probably get away with that stuff back then because there wasn't as much technology and stuff like that. But, like, do that nowadays, you know, like, I'd be like, yo, I haven't seen Betty outside in a while. Where is she? What's that strange smell you got going on over there? Like, I'm nosy. Like, I want to know. Like, give me the tea, right? Exactly. See this next one. My grandmother was born in Cuba, and when she came to the U.S., she would cash her Social Security checks and keep them in a pot under her bed. When she passed away, we decided to go through every inch of her apartment to see if we could find the money she would hide. I would too. My uncle told us that the final week she was in the hospital, she kept telling him to check in the oven, but gave no context as to why. Well, when my mom opened the oven door, we found a trash bag taped under one of the racks. We opened it up and found 2 Tupperware containers with a total of $12,000 in them. Granny was saving her money, right? Now, one of my uncle's friends, and he didn't really have family, and when he was, like, you know, passing away, like, he told my uncle, like, hey, there's cold cash. So me and my aunt, you know, we had to go clean out his apartment. Now, I don't know if my uncle got there before us, because it was also, like, it was, like a jail thing. So me and my aunt were like, cold cash, cold cash. I mean, like, we're looking in the mattress. Like, I even, like, unscrewed the vent things, thinking, you know, like, we're looking in the freezer if he froze anything. Like, we never found it. So I'm thinking my uncle might have gone in there before. Maybe there wasn't cold cash and he was just, like, delirious or whatnot. I don't know. The next one. While I was growing up, my mother ran a nursing home. Okay. So from the ages of 5 to 10, I spent every weekend with the residents because I had no school. Since I was a kid, these old-timers often confessed stuff that they thought I wouldn't understand. It happened lots of times. While I was reading Bible verses to a resident, she suddenly looked at me and said, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to drop that baby in the well. Where the hell was Lassie? Where was Lassie? Lassie should have, like, gone told somebody, like, yo, lady dropped the baby in the well. Where was Lassie? I want to know. I want to know. Okay. The last one. Never too late for revenge. Okay. My grandfather was a terrible man. He was physically and emotionally abusive towards my grandmother. Oh, hells to the no. My grandmom endured it throughout her life. However, when she started showing signs of Alzheimer's, my grandfather turned it up and started kicking her and pinching her. Oh, no, Grandpa. No, there will be none of that going on. Like, you better step back from Grandmama. Eventually, we said, enough is enough. I would have said enough is enough, like, very first time, like, I seen it or found out about it. Like, enough is enough. Like, Grandpa, like, you can go, like, no, like, that freaking just, like, boils my freaking blood. So eventually we said enough is enough and took her for her last months. Okay. On her deathbed, a few days before her passing, my grandpa came visiting. Please tell me it was a supervised visit. Or me and these people, we're going to have a problem, okay? And pinched her cheeks and messed with her, expecting no resistance. She had a moment of clarity and snapped. She swatted away his hand and shouted, "Stop it. I'm sick of you and your ways. Go, leave now. I don't ever want to see you again. Not ever. Good for you, Granny. Good for you. Oh my gosh. I'd be like, Grandmama, what do you want? What do you want? Like, I kicked that old geezer out the house. What is it you want? Like, you want ice cream? You want to, like, you want to watch porn? Like, what is it that you want, Granny? Like, you got it. Good for you for sticking up. She was always a sweet and happy woman, and watching her stand up for herself at last always makes me smile. That, like, whoo, I'm like, you go, Granny, right? You tell that man, like, there's the door. Don't let it hit you in the butt on the way out. Exactly, right? Right? I tell him, like, you better get away from me, sir. Not today. No. But with that said, guys, I'm going to hop on out of here. Let me know what you think about these, deathbed confessions. Did you like them? Did you not? I just thought I'd kind of, throw something in the mix with all the other topics. But seriously, with that said, I'm going to hop on out of here. If you're new to the channel and you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and ring that notification bell. And don't forget to give the video a thumbs up. And I'll see you next week.